What is going on, everyone? Depraved Slasher here. We are back with another Comic Corner podcast. I'm Depraved.
Hi, Pounds.
And my co-host is Mr. Pounds.
He might just ordered $50 worth of shit.
I am going to ASMR this whole thing.
Yep, that's it.
I hope you like ASMR podcasts.
This is happening.
Just remember, you're all beautiful.
Don't give up. Just don't give up your dreams.
Anyways, so this is the Comic Corner podcast number 11.
Oh my god.
That means we will have read around 66 issues or something. At least 66 stories. And actually, this one has 2 double stories. So there's only like 4 comics we actually read here. So, per the normal, we are going to start off with this podcast to show you the things that you should know, or at least you will find out in this issue. Are you ready, kids?
No.
Are you ready for some Marvel?
Damn, we both did that right. Hey! Yeah!
All right.
And this is his turn to pick now. His turn to pick his MVP this time.
So I'm the one that gets to pick the MVP this time. As you guys see from last week, which is technically today because we recorded all of these episodes.
No, don't tell him that. We have not showered, bro. We've been sitting here. We didn't even go to work. The kids, we kept them.
We smell like a giant room of ball sweat.
Ball sweat. The kids are hostage. The cat probably never know. What happened?
Hulk was his MVP, and he chose it from the Hulk versus the Fantastic Four issue, which is great because that picture of the Hulk is balding. So it's always fun to get a goofy picture of Hulk going. All right, so starting off, Tales of Suspense, number 39, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first Tales of Suspense we actually do.
Right.
This is issue 39, and it's split into 2 stories that we're going to do. It's actually technically A and D story. I mistyped that.
Dang.
Regardless, there was only 3 of the 4 stories on Marvel Unlimited. The first one is Iron Man is Born, so we finally get to see Iron Man for the first time in the Marvel Universe.
First time forever.
And then we get a wonderful story by the name of Gundar. I have no clue what to think about that one yet.
Yeah, neither do I. I'd say that was probably the most weirdest one, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going with that. Like, I mean, it was cool, but kind of out of misplaced, but yeah.
Right. So this issue features Anthony Stark as Iron Man, which it's always fun seeing him referred to as Anthony because we all mostly know him as Tony.
Right.
But his name is actually Anthony, ladies and gentlemen. Then we also get to see Wong Chu, Yinsen, Gundar.
Which
Gundar's a Viking.
That too, but I didn't know Yinsen was actually a real Marvel character until now. I was like, he's real?
Right.
Wow.
And then we get to meet one of Gundar's descendants, which we'll never know his name, apparently. All right. Moving on to the next issue, ladies and gentlemen. Tales to Astonish, number 41, Prisoner of the Slave World, because, we have to have at least one prisoner.
Right, you at least have one. At least
issue
have one.
every week.
Or Hypnotize or Return of a Master, some bullshit.
Right. This issue features Henry Pym, / Ant-Man, and Warlord Kulla. Kulla?
I say,
I don't know.
It's like K-U-L-A. I forgot how you spell that.
K-U-L-L-A.
Kulla. Want some Kulla?
You do. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, we finally get to the Amaizing Spider-Man issue number 1, where we get 2 stories out of this one. A story is just called Spider-Man, and B story is called Spider-Man versus the Chameleon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we get to meet his first actual villain that's not somebody that killed Uncle Ben.
Would be funny if Chameleon 2 kills Uncle Ben. Damn, how many people are going to line up to kill Uncle Ben?
Right. In this issue, we are going to run into Peter Parker / Spider-Man, also sometimes referred to as Peter Palmer. That's always fun.
Yeah, you see they fucked up his name.
Aunt May, J. Jonah Jameson, John Jameson, Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Schmidt.
I kid. The Fantastic Four are in this. I just have it labeled as Fantastic Four. You guys should know their names by now, but just in case you don't, Ben Grimm is the Thing, Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm is the Invisible Girl, and Human Torch is Johnny Storm.
You almost forgot his name.
Bitch
May. His name is Bitch May. From here on out.
And, of course, the Chameleon, who looks really weird in this comic
compared
compared to what we're used to.
Like, shades on and like he's like bandages on his head.
Right.
Weird.
And then the last comic we will be diving into today, Journey into Mystery number 91. And this one is called Sandu, Master of the Supernatural.
Well, at least that's different title than Master and... he is a Master. Damn it!
Right. And in this issue, we've got Dr. Donald Blake, who is also Thor,
right.
Loki, Odin, Sandu, and then Jane Nelson, who also apparently has the initials JF, because F and N are the same word, or same letter, y'all, according to the Marvel Universe.
Hey, gotta go with it, man. You gotta wing it. It's like, wing it, bro. Write anything.
Anywho, with that being said, let me switch back to our normal screen. Where's my mouse? There it goes. Hey, it's us.
Hey.
You know what I don't think I did?
What?
Oh, I did go back into the comic corner. Okay. So anyways, before we get started, I'm going to read off a quiz question, and we will give the answer at the end of the episode.
Watch me fail this bitch super...
Your job is not to answer. It is not a quiz question for you. It is a quiz question for our readers to see if they get right. Or watchers, listeners, whatever you are.
The 2 people that watch us, please get it right.
So the question is, true or false, Ant-Man helped cure the Hulk of ALS by shrinking down and repairing Bruce Banner's afflicted DNA.
Oh, shit.
And we will come back to that shortly. All right, so starting off, Tales of Suspense number 39, A story, Iron Man is Born. Released March 1st, 1963, written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, penciled and inked by Don Heck.
Sure.
So we start off with Anthony Stark, billionaire scientist, makes super powerful transistors in the outskirts of the jungle and show them to the general. He wants to turn them into guns, the general, and so they do. Meanwhile, Wong Chu is in the process of taking over a village in the jungle where he challenges anyone to a wrestling match, and if they win, he will set them all free.
Which that's I guess intro to a villain.
No one wins.
Right.
He beats them all.
Because Firing Squad. That should have been like Firing Squad if you beat me.
Mr. Stark goes out with the soldiers to stop Wong Chu because he's there to make sure the guns work as they are promised.
Right.
But he is also the dumbass that trips over a trip mine.
Right.
Where he is injured. Ha.
You are terrible. You are terrible.
He wakes up.
Ha, gotcha.
Captured by Wong Chu.
Right.
Where they tell him if he makes them weapons, he will have a doctor save his life. But here's the thing. Tony knows he's lying because if that were true, he would save his life first because he'd get more work out of him.
Right.
So he knows he's going to die.
Right, he's going to kill him.
But he also lies. He agrees.
Oh, you got double lie.
They take him to the weapon room, and he begins to draw up his plans.
Right.
The next day, they drop off Professor Jensen, the greatest physicist of all time, according to this part of the Marvel Universe.
Sure.
And he shows Jensen his Iron Man suit idea, and shows that it's specifically made to also keep the shrapnel from his heart.
Could you imagine Jensen working with the villain in this comic book? Be like, ha! You gave me this. Yo, this is what he's making, guys. He's making this. He ain't making weapons for you. No, he's not.
Right.
He'd be the snitch.
So Jensen agrees to help him out. They work on this for a couple pages. And just as the shrapnel is about to kill Tony Stark, the suit's finished, Tony gets in. However, he needs enough time for it to charge. But Wong Chu's army is right outside the door.
Oh, yeah, they're coming in hot.
Jensen starts the process and then runs out of the room freaking out, talking about Wong Chu's going down, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Whatever he goes off on. And then all of a sudden, you read that a gunshot goes off, which obviously kills Jensen.
Right. It's made, ready to go.
Yeah, but he did draw enough attention for just long enough to give Anthony enough time for the suit to run, at which point Mr. Stark swears revenge, and then uses springs that apparently he thought of ahead of time in his boots to jump up to the ceiling. Actually, I think it's supposed to be kind of like a booster thrust. Okay, so it's a combination of like suction
like
cups.
A generic.
It's like suction cups that also could stick to things,
right.
But at the same time, he gets this like weird boost that it's not like flying.
Right, because you don't got no plasma jumps or nothing. This thing is like a Mark 00. He made this.
This is Mark 1.
Mark 1 made out of scrap.
Right,
literally.
So, I read that part. Once the troops leave to find him, because they walk in the cell, they don't know where Tony is.
Right, he's gone.
He puts Jensen's clothes on over the suit, and then goes outside where he challenges Wong to a wrestling match. And he's standing in the shadows, so Wong is like, sure.
He's like, I'm villain waiting for you to come and fight me.
So he reveals the suit, Wong freaks out, and then gets thrown around. And then Wong orders the soldiers to shoot him, but the bullets bounce right off.
That was stupid, Wong. That should have killed... One of them bullets should have killed Wong, actually.
Right. So Wong then orders rockets and grenades, but Tony Stark did equip some of those transistors on his outfit that allows him to basically push things away.
Right.
So, he deflects them, and everybody runs.
Right. They're freaking out. They're like, he's a monster.
Wong runs to a nearby building where he tries to use the intercom. Tony Stark intercepts the signal, inputs one of him telling them to run, and then he goes inside the building where Wong is. Wong throws a filing cabinet full of rocks on top of him, but his suit, he's able to just push it right off.
Right.
And then he runs. Iron Man's Iron Man's suit is close to being fully out of power.
Right.
So during the pursuit, he uses this grease spray. He disconnects one of his hoses, uses this grease spray to shoot a line of grease over to the ammo building, or the armory, which is where Wong ran, because that's smart.
Right.
And then Mr. Stark lights it on fire. It explodes. Wong is dead.
Yep.
They don't show him die,
right?
But we know.
Hey, he burned to death, bro.
And then Anthony walks away, and they kind of give a dark hint that he has to be stuck in the suit for the rest of his life, because it's what's keeping him alive. Which I thought. So, over and above all, right?
I may give this a 5 out of 5, honestly.
I actually really liked this story.
Right, because, bro, what?
I didn't give it a 5.
Oh, I know you didn't.
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Some of the differences, so far, of all the origin stories that we've seen compared to the MCU counterparts, this is definitely the closest as far as what MCU got. Obviously, they used something in terms of a more current-day relevant situation with them being over, and I think it was Afghanistan.
And that's why I said, when I talked to you, I said, okay, it's more like Afghanistan, and he was building weapons of mass destruction, whereas, they weren't his weapons in the comics, or where... because they weren't his weapons in the comics. No, because, that was probably the only one.
No, the trip mine blew up.
Right.
And it was not Stark's.
It wasn't Stark Industries. Okay, that's the only thing about it. But really almost blow for blow, it was kind of like reading a Marvel, which so it goes to show you that they really went back that 40 years to actually at least pick out that source material. Right. So,
it was really cool to see that. And obviously this one's in Vietnam.
Right.
Or Viet Cong. Viet something.
Right.
So yeah, it was a really cool. I love going back and reading origin stories and seeing what differences were used in the movies, because obviously you cannot do the exact story.
No, I know you can't go like that route anyway. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to turn people off, because a lot of people don't want to hear the exact same story every time.
But this was, if you really look at this, besides the villain and all that, it really was almost verbatim,
right?
The exact same story. But a lot of people didn't know who the hell Iron Man was either. So,
but yeah, over and above all, I gave it a 4 out of 5. The main reason is, as a villain, Wong just sucks.
Yeah, he was just not as intimidating as the other, at least.
I'm gonna love Iron Man when we get into Mandarin territory.
Right. Okay.
It's gonna be some time. Iron Man doesn't even have his own comic coming for another year after this.
Right.
This was his introduction.
Just like Spider-Man, he was in his own little.
And we're in March, so it's gonna be a while.
Right. But I liked it though.
It was good. So you gave it a 5?
Yeah, I gave it a 5.
Nice. All right, next up, Tales of Suspense number 39, D story. This one was written by Stan Lee and penciled and inked by Steve Ditko. This specific story. This is a fun one and weird. So, an unknown man approaches a deserted island in a small boat.
Right.
Once he gets there, he meets some Vikings who tell him of the story of how they got there. They asked a question to their leader, Gundar, who took it as being insubordinate. And Gundar started fighting with the entire crew. The crew wins because obviously it's 70-1.
Yeah.
He's fighting so heavily, his sword's breaking off in pieces. Eventually, it's completely gone.
Right. He has nothing.
And instead of doing what we would normally think of as walking the plank, because they're not pirates, they're Vikings. They put him on a small paddle boat without paddles and send him off. On his way out, he basically tells them, he curses them, and he says, "Hey, I hope you guys get stuck on a deserted island.
You guys don't get out.
And never leave."
That was interesting. That was his last words to those people.
And Odin hears of the curse and grants it.
Yeah, he grants it.
And they have been there for hundreds of years. Now, they say how the curse cannot be lifted without Gundar, and since they assume he's probably been long past, they're never going to get off this island. They're going to be stuck there forever. However, and they also say they need his forgiveness to be free.
Right.
However, at that point, they begin to disappear, where they say they realize they're going back into the past, into their own time, to set what was wrong right.
Right.
We then find out that the man on the island reveals himself to be a descendant named with the last name Gundar.
Right.
And he was the one that lifted the curse for them.
Right, because they rather go
and
back.
That was the end of the story. Now, see, here's the thing. It's not super long. It's not super complicated. It's a quick, cool little story.
A little snippet.
I only gave it a 2 out of 5 because of how short it is.
Yep. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because, okay.
And if the site that we're following is having us read this, there's a reason. We're going to see something involving somebody
Gundar
somewhere.
Or descendant of Gundar, or maybe Gundar himself might come back in one of these comics. But
right.
As of right now, it was cool. It was cool. We met Odin again.
Yeah, Odin popped in.
Did his thing and dipped.
So yeah, I gave it a 2.
Yeah, I gave it a 2. Yeah.
Next up, Tales to Astonish, number 41, Prisoner of the Slave World. This was released March 1st, 1963.
It gets so... I'm just fucking with you.
Written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, penciled and inked by Don Heck. Don Heck has apparently come in and taken over for the pencil and inking.
Right, not Dick Ayers? Damn.
Yeah, we need some more Dick Ayers.
Right, what the hell?
So we start off with Henry Pym going and visiting a fellow scientist, but the scientist isn't answering the door. He turns into Ant-Man to find his friend is not inside. At home, he returns home, and he sees a news spot where a few scientists have seemingly just disappeared. No clue. A few days, I feel like everyone's just wanting to steal scientists. This is also a kind of reoccurring thing.
They've done that in a lot of these comics we've been reading lately. Like, just steal some scientists.
Happened in one of the Thors as well.
Yep, it was with the red. Yeah.
Just some weird shit.
Scientists. They're smart.
And then you had the one last week. Was it last week or the week before? Where they were kidnapped and taken. Somewhere else.
Even in the last one with the not last one, but the last couple of issues, they had scientists being taken off a spaceship or something.
It's just not a good idea to be a scientist, apparently.
Right. If you're a scientist, you're getting kidnapped. Like, damn.
Right.
Just like that? Yes, just like that, sir.
So a few days later, a window washer comes and offers to clean his windows, but then dumps liquid on Henry that actually paralyzes him instantly, even to the point where he can't talk. And then we see them. We kind of get a glimpse into another dimension where Warlord Kula is holed up with the scientists that have disappeared and wants them to make him an electronic death ray to destroy the enemies that are gathering outside the gates. So people are coming to fuck him up.
Right? Yeah. No, they were coming.
And he is a villain. These are good people coming to fuck him up. At least that's what they paint it as.
I'm hoping that's what, like, when I was reading, I said, I hope that.
Right.
Because this is going to look bad real quickly.
So the window washer brings Henry to Kula, where he is also made to help with the death ray, and the window washer is apparently being paid in gold for all this. After meeting with his friends, Pym chants down with Kula to get captured and put in a holding cell, where he then turns into Ant-Man, puts on his costume. But as he does this, he's attacked by bugs that are in the cell. And, of course, they're other dimensional bugs. So we have no clue what the fuck they are. They're like weird spider, ant, fucking grasshopper hybrids or some shit like that. I don't know.
No, this is so stupid because it's like, of course they would be some bugs just anywhere. That's like saying, of course there's another Iron Man sitting there. Like, what the, how, what?
Now, unfortunately, he can't switch frequency enough to talk to them before they attack, so he has to do it the old-fashioned way.
Beat the shit out of them.
Beat the hell out of them, and he does it pretty easily. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Now, that's where I had it written.
Wow.
Ant-Man then slides underneath the door and goes out to where everyone is, and then starts to just cause a lot of commotion. He's like bouncing around, hopping around, dodging people. You know, they see him. They're like, "Hey, get him!" And he like hops into his pockets.
Bro, he's doing some Neo shit.
Right? He's just
you ain't touching me.
Being the annoying little ant that he is.
Right. I can't kill the ant. No, because you can't. He's gone.
Using some smooth moves and trickery, buys him some time until he can get the bugs in the area to help him. As he is about to slip through the cracks to escape, Kula hits him with the paralyzing liquid.
More paralyzing.
And just as he's about to smash Ant-Man with the hammer, which, by the way, was a little bit intense. I was down with it. I was here for it.
I thought this was going to... Because every time we read an Ant-Man thing, we always read it where it's like, bro, either, this man's about to die.
Now, the good news is I don't want comic Ant-Man to die near as much as Avengers Ant-Man. Earth's Mightiest Heroes, guys, the animated show, not the actual MCU one.
Oh, yeah.
Because I spent most of that show hoping he would die.
The pacifist one. Like, guys, we shouldn't fight.
Yeah, but you're okay with beating your wife. Okay.
Right.
So,
really?
right. That's by the way, guys, that's actually Ultimate Universe Ant-Man. Although he's not very non-BD in the regular Marvel universe. So, Cullen hits him with the paralyzing liquid. Give us one quick second because our pizza might be here.
Hello? The liquid paralyzed part.
Sorry for the weird pause there, guys. He had to go and get the pizza from the pizza man.
Yep.
All right, so where was I? So he's about to slip through the cracks. Kula hits him with the paralyzing liquid, and just as he's about to smash Ant-Man with a hammer, the bugs come and aim the death ray at Kula and shoot Kula, killing him in the process.
Yeah.
I'm loving how people just die. Like, right. They're killing villains.
They're killing villains. That is, has DC ever did that? Like, okay, at their first couple of, like...
There's some Batman's killed people.
Okay, like, I'm saying, like, okay.
One, except his, usually by accident.
Right, because I'm like, bro, like, they're just straight up murdering them. Like, burning, murder, kill, throwing a vortex, like, or a meteor coming down. Like, bro, what? Like, we're just not even giving a damn about these villains, bro. Well, it's supposed to one off, so...
Right. And then the bugs come and help open the gate to let the oppressed people in to make quick work of the rest of Kula's army.
Kula's dead.
All 5 of them. Ant-Man then slips out the back before you knew he was there, and at the worst, he just seen nobody cared. Didn't have to be around when it all goes down, because even heroes know when to be scared. That's actually a song. I could not help myself. I'm sorry. That is
slipped in the back.
That is Fort Minor.
That was Fort Minor.
It was. Fantastic song. Anyways, so he slips out the back and goes back to his cell, where he turns back into normal-sized Henry Pym. They then come and free him, and the window washer shows up, and the dimensional people that live there are like, hey, the scientists were like, you betrayed the Earth. And he was like, yeah, I did it for money. So what? He's like, y'all can't do anything to me. It's not like it was illegal. And at which point, the people that came in and took out the rest of the oppressors were like, oh, that's cool. You're going to be our prisoner.
Right.
Bitch.
You know, it'd be funny. What if the gold was like just cheese? It'd be like, here's your gold. 50 stacks of cheese, bitch.
Right. The scientists then return home and wonder how Ant-Man got there, and that's how it ended.
Because he's a fucking genius, bro. Don't worry about it.
He's an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, 2 out of 5.
It wasn't a great story. It wasn't a terrible story. It's one I'll never read again.
Yeah, I don't care. Sure. Yeah, it wasn't like I'm gonna read that Hulk versus Fantastic Four. Like, no, I said it's not like it's not like where I'm gonna read the Hulk Fantastic Four. Like, read that a couple times. Like, I actually read that twice. But I will never read that shit ever again. No.
All right. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I put the comic here.
Oh, yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 1, A story, Spider-Man, was published March 1st, 1963, written by Stan Lee, penciled and inked by the combination of Sol Brodsky and Steve Ditko.
Sure.
Yeah, they're just kind of making people up now.
Don't you just want to say that?
No, eventually it's going to be even more fun when there's so many different people being involved.
People like, just shit. Like, wait, aren't they just making up random Joes out this bitch?
All right.
Where'd you find him from? Tinder?
Tinder.
The
Tinder for comic book artists.
I'm 35. I do Spider-Man.
It's called Penciler.
Penciler. Please, pencil me. Like, oh, shit.
All right. So we start off with Peter throwing a temper tantrum about his Uncle Ben being gone. And we get...
Because the Chameleon... I'm just kidding. No.
We get what is thankfully a very quick recap.
Yeah, no, it's a quick recap.
Of how he became Spider-Man.
Right. Because if they had went to that, bro would have went out... I'm sorry, that would have been 1 out of 5. Because we already know from Amazing Fantasies already.
Peter then goes downstairs, finds that Aunt May is having issues paying bills, so he decides he's going to call a booking agent and start doing shows again.
Yep.
A few days later, he turns down going to see Spider-Man with some classmates, and then goes and does the book performance, where his classmates are watching him, unbeknowingly to them.
Right.
When they go to pay him after the performance, they say that they cannot give out cash. They have to do it by check, which is bullshit, by the way.
Right. What the hell?
So he asks for the check to be made out to Spider-Man.
The wrestling shit was nothing but cash. What?
And the guy was like, "Are you sure about that?"
He did do.
And Spider was like, "Yeah."
He's like, "Yeah, I am sure. I can lift this whole building." With you in it.
While this is happening, J. Jonah Jameson is in the process of writing an article calling Spidey a menace, as usual.
Yeah, that's not.
And then, in turn, ruins his chance at further shows because the public believes J. Jonah Jameson. It's in the newspaper.
This was something
if it's in the newspaper,
different.
It has to be right.
Right. Because in the movies, they're like, you have a few where it's like he's not really changing. I mean, he's saying it, like especially in the first Spider-Man, but this one's more like they're actually believing in that mentality, like, oh, he's a menace, so fuck that dude. He's weird.
Right.
That's interesting from what we've seen from Spider-Man.
So then JJ has a press conference, which I spelled press conferencey.
So he's the villain of the story, guys.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Where he states Spidey is a bad influence on the kids. Yep. People are going to want to be like him, and just imagine the kind of danger they're going to put themselves into, and he should be outlawed. And people should look up to real heroes like his son, John Jameson, who is an astronaut.
Right. That dude.
So then Peter tries to find another job, but no one will hire a teenager.
Yeah.
In the process, he spots Aunt May in public, pawning off her jewelry for more money, and he knows she's doing it for him, and he has to do something. He is torn up about this.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't want her to give up all of her personal belongings just to make sure he has a place to stay. This is why we love Peter.
Right.
So, next day, John Jameson is set to go into orbit in some weird rocket thing. And Peter is there to watch it all happen because, he's still a science nerd.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The shuttle launches, but the guidance package breaks off, and the capsule starts to spiral crazily all over the place, apparently.
Yeah, and how it was drawn, it was
like... John tells Dispatch, or whoever they're called,
whoever
Missile
he's
Command,
talking to,
what is going on. And, of course, J. Jonah Jameson starts to freak out.
He said, Houston, we have a motherfucking problem. We're spinning out of this way.
They try to throw some weird steel net on the capsule to catch it. They miss terribly.
Right, that was a fail.
And while all this was going on, Peter managed to run home and put on his Spidey costume.
By that time, J. Jonah's son blew up.
Right.
Because how did he? What are you, the Flash now?
Apparently. Depends on how far from home he was.
Yeah, if he was close by. It basically like, okay, so that time he went kablooey, and boom goes the dynamite. Literally.
Yeah. So then Spidey shows up in Missile Command, tells them to give him the guidance package so he can reattach it, and he will get it to the ship. The director agrees, but JJ is like, nah, this is just a publicity stunt. And Spidey's like, yo, fuck off. I'm about to save your kid. He didn't actually say that. He was more like...
He should have.
He's like, just watch what I can do.
Watch what I can do. But he wanted to say, bitch, I know who you are. Let me do this.
And then he kidnaps a pilot and a plane from an army base, physically assaults an army personnel member.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He just webbed him. He didn't actually, hurt him.
Hey, he's the villain now. I'm just... Spidey's now the villain.
And
that's it.
He has him take him up into the path of the spaceship, or the shuttle. Spidey web slings to the shuttle, puts the piece back on, and John returns to Earth safely. Spidey dips the fuck out. He's like, I don't want to be here for the press. We're good.
Right, at least he ready to go. He said, I'm not about to stay here and ask questions.
So then the next day, Peter's in a great mood, thinking Spidey will be praised for his efforts. No. However, when he reads the newspaper, he found out that Jameson wrote an article claiming that Spidey sabotaged the rocket to try and show that he is a hero, and he demands he be arrested. After some time of this, the public believes him, and the cops put out a warrant for Spider-Man's arrest.
Yeah, that was interesting, because I thought he was going to get praised at that, but never mind.
Right. Spidey ends the story wondering if he should just become the villain that everybody wants him to be.
Yes.
So, I gave this issue 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. If he had said yes...
Or the story.
It would have got 5 out of 5. If he had said yes, like, I would be the villain, like how the Hulk said he wants to be a villain, 5 out of 5, sir. I've never seen this side of you. Well, I have, but that's later on.
Right. So then, the next one, The Amazing Spider-Man #1 B story. This is Spider-Man versus the Chameleon. This was still released March 1st, 1963, written by Stan Lee, penciled and inked by Steve Ditko. So, Peter Palmer, this entire issue, he's referred to as Peter Palmer, and we will probably do the same because it's fun. Peter Palmer, decides to join the Fantastic Four in order to make money.
Right.
So he goes to the Fantastic Four headquarters.
So, and this is, by the way, this is the second time we got a crossover now.
Yeah, and this is Spidey's first issue. And he's like, hey, Fantastic Four, let's go.
Right.
He creates a tightrope out of webbing to their window and sneaks in, but Reed had managed to catch him on the security alarm.
Reed, you can't catch shit.
They try to trap him in a cage, but he holds the cage open.
Right.
And slips through. Thing then goes to punch him. Spidey taunts him and then throws him into Torch.
And he did too. He taunt the shit out. He said, "You think you'll hit me?" God.
Then Reed tries to grab him from a distance. He evades him easily. Invisible Girl, this is my favorite part, then tries to throw a lasso on him, but Spidey sense triggers. He grabs the rope and spins her like a Beyblade.
Did you? Oh yeah, and that's how. Like what the like, bro?
He yanks the cord and she spins.
She spins like a top. Like what the hell, dude?
She would probably vomit. So
badly, or get her or fall herself off.
Then Torch tries to encircle him in flames. Spidey dodges around the room and finally Reed steps in.
Like you know what? Spidey said, "I always did the PPP, man. You ain't gonna catch me, bitch."
Right. Finally, Reed steps in and corners the Fantastic Four into a corner, basically to separate everybody. And he says, "All right, what the fuck do you want? Like, that's all I want to know. Like, there's no reason. We don't need to be fighting if we don't know why we're fighting."
He should have said, "I woke up and chose violence." Oh my god, because he could have whooped everybody's ass right here because they all fail.
So Spidey says, you know,
I'm a badass. I'm good at what I do.
I'm honestly, pretty much. I came to show off what I can do. And I want to know how much the job pays when I start, and I think I'm worth your top salary.
And if I don't start, I'm about to do the same thing again, and this time I'm gonna date Invisible Girl. I'm gonna be the third boyfriend.
Hope you like teenagers. That's when the Fantastic Four break it to him that they are non-profit.
Right, because they're still broke.
So
they were about to get evicted.
Somebody jokes about him being an outlaw. Spidey Dips tells him to fuck off.
Right.
And they ask him to come back.
Nope.
But they feel like they'll hear more from him later.
That was the most dopest. That should have been a story in itself. That shit was so raw as fuck, dude.
So, meanwhile, while this happens,
sure.
We then see the Chameleon becoming a janitor, and then becomes Professor Newton. And then, later that night, we see that he sees a story about Spider-Man on the news, and he's decided he's going to imitate Spidey to make Spidey the fall guy.
Yeah, he wants to be Spider-Man. Yeah.
So Chameleon sets up a call that somehow only Spider can hear, and it is to meet him at 10 p.m. with a business opportunity on top of a nearby roof. Mm-hmm. So as Spidey, Chameleon then goes and steals the missile plans, pretending to be Spider-Man. He even has this gun that shoots weak webs. Which at that point, if he's holding a gun, you should know that that's not Spider-Man. Like, that's my problem with this story. But we'll continue.
And Jay just said, he has a gun now, too? I'm like, bitch, what's wrong with you?
As Spidey... Okay, so we read that. Once Spidey... So, Spidey gets there just as the helicopter's taking off that Chameleon's in.
Right.
The cops show up and try to arrest him for theft.
Yep, for theft.
Spidey's like, fuck this, I'm out.
Right, literally.
He webs the door so that they can't get through, and then he tunes into the energy that the helicopter is putting off, and he chases it down where they meet outside of a Russian submarine, because Chameleon's plan is to sell these plans to the Russians. Right. He just wants money.
Right.
He webs the hatch shut, and then web slings to the helicopter. Spider-Man then forces Chameleon to land the plane. And as he's walking the Chameleon to the cops, Chameleon escapes by dropping a smoke bomb and disappears. He turns into one of the cops and joins the search party looking for Spider-Man. Spidey senses him out, and as he grabs him, Chameleon tries to yell that the Chameleon is Spider-Man again. So the cops believe that Spider-Man is the Chameleon, so they start to grab him, and the actual Chameleon gets away.
Yeah, he gets away.
Finally, Spidey's like, you know what? Nah, fuck y'all. Every time I try to help any of you motherfuckers... You come and do this shit to me.
Yeah, he got serious. Yeah.
He says, so I'm done. He dips. He's like, y'all can catch him on your own. The good news, though, is the cops did actually catch him because the dumbass had a ripped shirt that showed the Spider-Man costume underneath. Spidey walks into the night mad, wishing he'd had never gotten his powers, and the Fantastic Four ponder what a foe Spider-Man could become if he was to turn into a villain. I still give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
It honestly would have been a 2 out of 5. If it wasn't for the fact that Fantastic Four fight was so dope, dude.
Right,
he bodied them.
I mean, they were all bitches.
He bodied them in their own home.
Yeah, that was...
Came in and bodied them.
Yeah, he came in, tightrope. I see you, bitch. Catch me then.
Catch me if you can.
He said, "Catch me then, homie. If you see me, catch me then." He Black Panther they asses.
Right.
And everybody's here. Who's the cat?
Journey into Mystery number 91. This was titled Sandu, the Master of the Supernatural.
This was an interesting comic also. This is an interesting one.
It was. April 1st, 1963. Yay, we're in April.
It should have been April Fool's. This comic should have... No, I'm just kidding.
Written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, penciled and inked by Joe Sinnott. Now, we did not have one Dick Ayers.
Huh.
In any of these comics this day.
That is so weird, man. He took a day off. He took a break.
Right.
He said, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to do this shit no more.
So we start with Odin talking about the belt of strength and why he has it, and he will keep it until Thor needs it, which means at some point in this issue Thor is going to need it.
Right.
Meanwhile, a bank is starting to fly out of fucking nowhere. Thor rushes to find out what's happening, starts to push the bank back down, and then it just disappears. And then the people that were inside reappear in the street. So Thor sneaks off, becomes Donald Blake, and everyone in the bank has lost their memory of the event, and Don suspects Loki is involved. However, Loki asks, so then Thor asks Odin if he has Loki, and Odin says yes.
Right, because he's still captured from the last issue.
Right. Thor dips, wondering then who could have done this. Meanwhile, at a racetrack, money is starting to just fly away. Loki is actually watching this from Asgard and says other things are at play, but this is entertaining as fuck. I'm so glad this is happening.
Who is doing it? Your mom. It's your mom.
Right. We then get the kind of backstory leading up to how we got here. So we see that a few days prior, on their way home from a house call, Don and Jane pass by a carnival where Sandu tells someone their social security number as a trick. At this point, Don is like, nah, he's got to have some on what's going on.
Right.
At which point, Don says, you are still in love with someone with the initials of JF. And Jane's like, hey, that's me. Bitch, your last name is Nelson.
I knew he was going to have a problem with that whole comic book.
You can't sit here and tell me her name has been Jane Nelson this whole time and be like, you know what? No, I think we're going to change it to Foster. Why?
He said, bitch, that is not your name. That's what he should. That would have got 5 out of 5. He had said that, bitch, your name is motherfucking Nelson. And they just walk off.
Don then says he's wrong. Both still afraid to tell each other how they feel. They have the little thought bubbles. They're like, if only he actually admitted that he liked me. And he's like, man, I don't think she would like me. And it's just like, yo, y'all could be fucking by now. Like, I'm just saying, get your shit together.
Y'all could be doing some things with that hammer and cane at the same damn time. And some thunder and lightning.
We then see Loki decide to make Sandu super fucking powerful.
Yep.
Instantly, he knows, when this happens, he knows how much is in everyone's pocket. He then levitates and teleports all the money out of their pockets and puts it in his. And Loki is pleased. He's like, immediately he became a villain. This is what I wanted. He's probably going to run into Thor, and he should be strong enough to beat Thor. So, we then see how the bank was taken. They go back to the bank story.
Right, everything's like, flashbacks, yeah.
Sandu's running, so once the bank disappears and appears where Sandu can get inside, he has a run-in with the cops. And they all failed to stop him. They were trying to shoot him, and he was making their bullets just fall straight to the earth, crazy shit like that. So he wipes their memory and then sends them back over to where the bank is actually at. And then once Sandu is done, we learn that he's teleporting all of these buildings he robs to the moon. So apparently the moon's going to have its own city. Maybe this is how the Inhumans start.
They just take a chunk of people and just throw them that way. Right. Where are we going? Can't breathe, bitch. Because you're mutants. Don't worry. The terror will kick in. Don't worry about it.
Right. So Don then decides it's time to act and turns into Thor. Or no, wait. Sandu then decides he's going to take over the world.
Right.
He tells
generic villain 101. Gotta love it, man.
Right. He tells the military his intent, and he's going to start with New York City. And then he destroys some planes, levitates to the UN, and basically tells them, you're all going to agree to follow me. And they're like, that's not how it works. And they're like, yo, we should probably tell them anyways, just to save our lives, blah, blah, blah.
And that shit was so stupid. And like, yo, we can be like official, like, does he not know this is not how this works? Like, yo, bro, fuck you, bro. I'm trying to live. He done blew up some planes and shit. I love life.
Right. Don then decides now it's time to act. He turns into Thor.
Right.
Sandu makes demands to the UN. Then Thor shows up and a chase starts.
Yep.
Sandu then teleports some girders right behind him, knocking Thor out of the sky. And honestly, just plain out. He knocked Thor out. He then uses chains to bind him, and he is about to drop an entire building on top of him.
Which
he actually does.
He does.
He drops a building on top of him.
Literally.
once that's done, Thor wakes up entombed because he's kind of like in this weird divot where he's got
because the cover of him shows him like in a divot, like in the so
right.
Yeah.
So he then asks. He realizes he's entombed and he can't get out. He asks Odin for help. Odin sends the belt to him using Valkyries, which look way different than what we have normally seen them. They look like fairies.
Fairies. That was so. I guess they wanted to change it up, but I was like, huh, that's weird. I mean, I'm cool with it. It's just interesting about it.
So
they some of Legend of Zelda. Sorry.
Right. They take the belt basically through the building because with them having the magic powers they do, they can just kind of float through shit. Sure.
Right. Sure.
Thor breaks out, faces down Sandu. Thor is coerced into throwing his hammer at Sandu, and Sandu dodges it and transports the hammer and surrounding area to another dimension. Sandu then tries to lift the hammer, and he can't, and then he tries to lift it mentally and strains himself so much his brain fries just in time to where everything returns back to the regular world, which basically then the hammer returns back to Thor's hand.
So he's dead.
Just in time, by the way.
Sandu is dead. Did he just say
literally,
he fried his brain?
Fried as in, like, not like deadly fried.
Bro, I thought when I saw that, I was like, wait, did he kill him? Bro, we are really killing these guys?
No. But Thor got the hammer just in time to not turn back into Donald Blake because, that's going to constantly happen.
Right.
And then Sandu ended up losing his powers over the whole process and is then arrested.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
We find out Odin is proud of Thor and Loki is back to the drawing board.
Right, because he's still not in prison, but he's like in some weird, like, chamber area.
Right.
Where he can't get out, though.
And I actually gave this issue a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. That's about right.
And again, it's one of those that it could have been better, it could have been worse.
I think if Loki had broken out with Sandu, could have been like how you did a Namor with Doctor Doom situation. They probably would have got a 4 out of 5 because like, oh, you're gonna use me as like like pawn or slave type thing.
Right.
Loki's mischief. Instead, it's like I'm gonna help him. I'm like, okay, I mean you can if that's what you wanted.
Right.
So.
Which that leaves us with what's going to happen next week. Now the good news is for us, we've got 2 weeks to get through the next week because he's going out of town, which is why we're recording this now. Which means this is still going to come out at a normal time, but yeah. So we're going to get 2 Strange Tale stories in one comic. One is called The Painter of 1,000 Perils. The other is called The Iron Warrior.
That's when I'm just kidding.
I think the Iron Warrior is not on the Unlimited app, so I'm going to have to find a way to figure out what happens there.
Right.
And then Amazing Spider-Man number 2 is another A and B story. The first one is called Duel to the Death with the Vulture, so we're getting a Vulture story.
Nice.
And then we're also getting The Uncanny Threat of the Terrible Tinkerer, so it's our first showing of the Tinkerer. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tinkerer is one of Spider-Man's original villains.
Right.
So that's 4 stories, and then the last 2 are going to be Fantastic Four number 13, which is called The Red Ghost and His Incredible Super Apes. And then the last one is Tales to Astonish, and it's called The Voice of Doom, which is not about Victor Von Doom. It's a guy that has a dooming voice.
But Doom could probably come... No, I'm just kidding.
Although, Iron Man's coming back up soon, too. Apparently, he is going to be in a lot of the Tales of Suspense for a minute.
Right.
Before he gets his own comic.
Right.
Man, y'all really didn't want to just, like, make comics.
Yeah, they just want to throw him in
anything. They're like, Ant-Man is going to forever be in Tales to Astonish.
Right, when does he ever get his own Ant-Man comic? Damn.
The good news is here soon, the Wasp shows up.
Sure.
And we get some more fun stories here soon. There's a Loki stealing Thor's magic hammer issue. The Puppet Master.
Oh, Lord, he's back, Lord.
Is coming back. How? He died. He fell out a fucking window.
Remember what we said? Because we joked about it. I said, well, he might come back. We never saw actually him burning up.
Guess who shows up soon in an Iron Man story?
Who?
Our first look at Doctor Strange.
Really? The one they both look alike? Like you look like my brother because they have the same hairstyle.
That's interesting.
Yes, so Doctor Strange show up. Okay.
But yeah, so we'll be finishing with The Voice of Doom for that week. And then it'll be interesting to see where things go. And then I think we get a week off from Spider-Man, which saddened me. I wouldn't mind reading a Spider-Man comic a week. But yeah, so that's how all that's going to go. Interesting. Okay, sorry. I'm looking ahead. I probably shouldn't do that because then I get excited for things that aren't here yet. All right, so a couple things. First off, we are going to tell you guys who I think is the MVP. So we're going to switch back over. Or actually, let me pull up the thing. Alright, so we're going to pull this up. I didn't even need to pull it up like that. Alright, now we'll switch screens. So as far... Somebody subbed to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, so... You want to know who I am putting as my MVP?
Who you got?
I am putting Spider-Man as my MVP.
Okay.
Here's the reason why. It has nothing to do with him being my favorite superhero of all time, that I can promise. I actually don't think I picked Spider-Man last time he was on.
Right, when he first showed up.
The reason I am picking Spider-Man as my MVP is because he went into the Fantastic Four's home
and bodied him.
He took Thing, who is probably either tied for strongest or second strongest,
and taunts him
at the time, taunted him and threw him across the room like a motherfucking toy.
Like a toy.
Into the Human Torch.
And they already don't like each other. He said, "Here you go."
He said, "Nah, bitch."
Yeah, it would be Spider-Man.
Were it not for Spider-Man, I probably would have picked Tony Stark.
Right, because he bodied everybody too. It's got somebody that bodied, and once again, it's not he's a hero or whatever Spider-Man is. I guess a hero. I guess.
And ironically enough, I picked the Thing at one point as my MVP, and Spider-Man is taking Thing's place.
Right, because he bodied the Fantastic Four. He just. Damn.
So, the Thing is being removed. Spidey is taking his place. And yeah.
Right.
So now our current lineup of MVPs is The Impossible Man, The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, Valeria, and Pastepot Pete. Thank you for that.
Thank you. You
weirdo. You reached for my dick.
You keep. You didn't move your head fast enough, motherfucker.
Snuggle struggle.
And that's what the X Revolution episode 4 was. That was a snuggle struggle. You're not going anywhere. Nowhere.
All right. And that's going to bring us to our last thing that we got to do. Going back to the trivia card that I pulled out of this box that has been sitting over here on the shelf. I figured we might as well start going through some of these.
Oh, shit. I just realized you moved that bitch.
Yeah, I pulled a card out of it. True or false, Ant-Man helped cure the Hulk of ALS by shrinking down and replacing Bruce Banner's afflicted DNA. What do you think?
True. You
would be correct.
Yeah, because I'm awesome.
That is true. Good guess.
You know damn well that was.
We haven't got that far.
No skills. Nothing but skills, bro.
We haven't got to that far. But yeah, so that is holy shit. I have all these like old cards, dude.
Right.
So I didn't know. Apparently, they had a whole stack of characters in this motherfucker.
Oh Jesus.
That at some point I could probably collage up and hang. Like, look at this. It's Captain America.
Right.
Power Man.
Right.
For those of you that don't know who Power Man is. Power Man.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
Yes, sir.
And actually, this wasn't even Captain America. It was Black Bolt.
Oh, my God. Oh, it is Black Bolt. Oh, that's cool.
The Incredible Hulk.
Right.
Incredible Hulk. Hawkeye.
Now it's Captain America.
There's Captain.
He's got that cheesy face smile. With that Boy Scout smile, man.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
The Mighty Thor. Does it say the? It does say the Mighty in the T.
Nice.
The Invincible Iron Man.
Right.
The lawyer-esque She-Hulk. Oh, she goes by the Savage. The Savage She-Hulk.
Nice.
That's not hard to say.
All right, Savage She-Hulk.
Spider-Woman.
Nice. Black Panther.
Black Panther, baby.
That's it. Green Goblin.
Green Goblin, who's the only villain so far in this whole list.
What? Damn, that was random.
He's not the only one, though. Daredevil. Natasha Romanoff.
Okay, Doc Octopus. Okay.
Doc Ock. Why is it only Spider-Man villains that are in this, though?
Right, what the hell?
Falcon. Nova.
Nicolas Cage.
Ghost Rider.
Go ahead. It's Nicolas Cage.
Iron Fist.
And
Doctor Strange. Oh, that's
nice.
Weird. They got some weird picks.
Right, what?
Anyways, and actually, so Luke Cage's. I mean, I said it's Power Man, but it does say Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. Same thing.
Right.
But yeah, so this is a fun little trivia box. There's a bunch of cards. We'll be able to cover a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah. Covering Marvel Comics.
So I'm actually going to put this specific... Look, bitch. I'm going to put this
like lazy. Like, what the
specific card in the back. We'll ask the other question next time.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember. I might not remember. We got 2 weeks. Who knows? So yeah, that's going to do it. This was actually a shorter episode than the other comic one. And the other comic one was actually pretty quick. So
yeah, this one, I mean, it really had nothing. I mean, it was good, but they had nothing, like, flashy.
I think it was the best overall group of comics we've had so far.
Right.
There may be some biasness there because of Spider-Man, but I mean, the Iron Man story was really cool.
Right.
Like,
he didn't disappoint.
The Ant-Man story wasn't shitty.
Yeah. It was just meh.
It was just there.
It was just there.
And then the Thor story was a Thor story. I mean, the Thor stories are always weird, but kind of entertaining.
Right.
And
like, we didn't have some like PPP or, you know, the
do you know
Man.
Who I've actually grown more of an appreciation for doing all of this?
What?
The Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember being like, who the fuck cares about the Fantastic Four? But the more I read their comics, I'm like, I can see why people liked them.
Yeah, because they're slow. It's like they are gaining.
They're consistently the most solid comic out of all of them in terms of...
Because like I said, next week, or when I come back from vacation, it's like Fantastic issue number 13. It's like, okay, so they just... Well, you said they kept going, so that's...
Right.
So they're the more consistent one out of everybody. But people like them, though, so I can see why.
So, guys, that is going to do it with this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us and spending an hour with us. And next week, we'll kind of be back to normal. Yes. We're going to have the next 4 episodes of X-Men Evolution. And then we're also going to cover the comics that I said we were going to cover. I don't remember all of them. Then I'm not going to go look it up. So, with that being said, we love you guys. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next week. Excelsior.
Yeah. Good job.
Maybe. Why does my mouse always take forever?